Hello, everybody. I'm here with Colleen,
Hello.
and we are so happy to have back Molly McCord. Hi, Molly.
Hi, Robyn. Hi, Colleen. Thanks for having me back.
We
Thanks for
always,
coming back.
yeah, it's
I
always,
love it.
we
I
love
love
it.
talking with you every time.
Yes,
I
thank
know, I
you.
can't wait.
And if you're one of the newer listeners, we have had Molly on a few times. She is an astrologer extraordinaire. And so, if you're always looking for what is going on with the planets and what is going on in the energetic aspects of astrology, check out her Instagram where she gives kind of shorter videos and bites about what's going on. And her YouTube and podcast is a little bit longer, a little bit more in depth. And then, of course, she has online courses. Your website is just mollymccord.com, right, Molly?
It's mollymccord.online.
Online. Thank you. Yeah, sorry.
Online. That's it. Yep,
Yeah,
no
I
problem.
didn't want to pull back up the bio right this second. So mollymccord.online. Of course, we have all of that in our show notes. What her Instagram, YouTube, podcast, all of that is. So you can go there and just click a link and it's very easy. But we love all your courses, everything that you provide. Her newsletter is fantastic also.
Yeah.
Anytime Colleen and I are like, what is happening right now? Like, okay, what's Molly
What
have to
does
say?
Molly say?
What's going on?
I
And
listen to you
then
on my
we
walks.
read her newsletter or listen to the podcast or check out her Instagram. We're like, oh, that explains it perfectly. So thank you, Molly,
Um,
for all the resources and
Oh, yeah.
sanity you provide to all of us.
Oh, well, we're all in it together. And this is a year that there's been so much going on that everything has had these spikes and dips and highs and lows and extremes. And it just helps to know that you're not alone, that we're all feeling it in some way. And it's in the astrology. So I love that astrology is so validating.
Oh my gosh, it's so true. We were talking before this about how this year time has been so weird, which Molly did tell us about that. I don't know when it was that we had you on about how time's going to feel really weird until we are able to adjust to the new realm
Mm-hmm.
of time, and we hear it so often. Even people who aren't into this stuff, like it'll come move slow and then it'll be a blink of an eye and then it'll move slow again. So things feel like they were a year ago, or they feel you said this, Molly, before we started, or they feel like they were 2 seconds ago, even if it was a while ago.
Yeah, exactly. And that's going to continue, especially through the rest of this year and beyond. I mean, this is kind of our new way of navigating these energies, where the energies are so inconsistent and they can feel so disruptive. Like you're just knocked off a center, you have more to do, or you feel like you're just, how am I going to get everything done when I can't even get a grasp on my calendar or I can't follow the clock? It's just a very interesting time that we're in because we're really in between timelines and we are learning how to become these new versions of ourselves in these new incoming energies. And I was sharing with you, Robyn, before we started, how even sleep can feel really disrupted right now, that you can't get that solid night's sleep every night. You could feel like you're awake or that things are happening in other realms and you wake up feeling exhausted. I feel this is part of our multidimensionality. I feel it's part of what we are learning to embody, with these new energies of just, we're understanding that we're so much more than what we ever thought, but it's a steep learning curve to adjust to what this is going to be going forward.
I I'm so in awe of you talking about us being in the in-between
Mm.
timelines. My sessions have been showing up, my Reiki sessions, with really empowering the in-between in
Mm.
people. And so showing and the imagery, because it's always for me, it's metaphorical imagery. And so the imagery is of the chakras and the gradient shades as the chakras change from like
Mm.
red to orange, and then the orange to yellow, and each way. And it talks about that being the in between within us, and how sometimes those gradient shades, the frequencies of the gradient shades are not necessarily, well, they can be depleted for sure.
Mm,
And also then, but they can be more opaque. And so the
mm,
energy has been coming in to empower it, and it keeps telling me all these experiences of the in between. And so, like the breath and the in between, the inhale and the
mm,
exhale, and the ocean and the waves, and the in between of the ocean when the wave comes in and goes out, and the betwixt and the between of the sunrise and the sunset, and that moment
mm.
there's that in between. And so, and that's also so much of what we do in having an awareness in the Celtic realms too, is a lot
Mm.
of that in between. So, can you
Molly,
talk more about
what do you
that?
mean about in between timelines?
Yeah.
Well, I feel like a lot of 2025 has been requiring us to make bigger adjustments than we anticipated or knew in terms of what we want next in our lives. And
Mm.
so we're in this in between of it's showing up, maybe it's a little, hazy, maybe it feels like it's a moving target. You don't know how it's going to happen, how it's going to show up. But you sense that there's something new approaching for you, or you're ready. I feel that a lot of people who are advanced as healers, energy guides, light workers who've been doing their own practice or have been really masters for a while are moving on. Like they're moving up to the next rung of something, the next level, but they might not know exactly what that is. But you're feeling it. You're feeling like I meant to move to something, but I'm not 100% clear yet. And then I take this and I think of it how it applies to many areas of our lives. So as you so beautifully described, Colleen, we're embracing this in between where we're sensing that yes, the new is coming in. I've got some faint visions of it. I can see some glimpses of it. Nothing is solid, nothing's fully clear. And so we're also still in these previous realities or these previous versions of ourselves that we can feel are ending or closing out. And so it's bringing up some really big karmic lessons, healing themes, things that we're ready to really finalize and end across maybe your family lineage, maybe in your work environment, maybe simply in your own soul growth journey. Like it feels like the endings are really significant right now. And that's going to continue into early 2026 because we have Saturn in Pisces and Neptune returning to Pisces, the final degrees of Pisces, the very, very end of the full zodiac wheel. And so both Saturn and Neptune are bringing our attention to the soul work we need to complete and a sense of, okay, I understand that this is over for me or that this needs to be closed out. And you could feel just exhausted from it. You could feel like I'm so tired of working on this, or I'm tired of putting energy into something that doesn't have any traction. You could feel like you're doing a lot and not seeing any changes or any rewards or results just yet. And that's part of this in between where we're doing work, we're more conscious than ever, we're more energetically aware than ever, but you could almost feel like, is anything really changing? Is any of this going to pay off? And that's a hard place to be because we want the validation or we need something that encourages us, right? That gives us hope. And I would say that if you're in that place of like you've lost hope or you don't know if something is real or if your next chapter is going to truly take off and go, it will begin in first quarter 2026. February, March, April 2026. So what, 6 months or so? Not that far. But just know that what you're doing now is a really big deal. And it's almost like it has these deeper energetic roots that we can't see the full story, where we can't see where all the energy goes in our own soul history or healing path. Like it goes much deeper than we realize. So know that whatever you are working on right now, it absolutely matters and it's important. But to stay the course and not give up hope or lose faith, because we're in these assignments right now that can be tricky to understand, but it will make sense later in 2026.
Well, and 6 months can feel so long, but it's not. And it's funny, as you were both talking with, like when you are in breath work and you're holding that in between breath, that you've let out the end breath, you've let out the breath and you're waiting for the in breath with it all. When you're to the very end of that pause, it's like, oh my gosh, am I ever going to have oxygen again? And then finally it's like, so it's probably a similar kind of idea as that.
That's what we're all at. And that's the exhaustion too, and the fatigue, and just it's like being tired of treading water, or being tired of like swimming in the abyss and being like, where's the next shore? And that's part of what these big Pisces energies are bringing us up in us. And to that, it means rest, take care of yourself, take a break, calm the mind, calm the body, do the breath work, do what you need to do to nurture where you're at and fortify yourself, because it is more of a marathon than a sprint at this point. And we need to regulate ourselves. Like we need to be very aware of what our energy needs and make sure that that is a priority.
So is that Saturn is going to be moving into Aries? Is it done with its retrograde back into Pisces? Are we past that third pass?
No. So Saturn is retrograde in Pisces September 1st until February 14th is when it will leave Pisces. Okay. So Saturn has 5.5 months in Pisces. So it's not until February that Saturn returns to Aries. And so Saturn brings our attention to where we need to show up and complete things, close it out, be responsible, be aware of what we have learned along the way, what matters, that we're like, I'm not going to do this again, or I understood the lesson. I understand more about what this was for me. The Saturn in Pisces, it also is going to help us strengthen our personal boundaries. And you might find that it's easier to say no, or it's easier for you to establish what you need and what is effective for you over these number of months, because Saturn has been in Pisces previously. So we've already been aware of where we've been drained, where we've been exhausted, where we have given away our power, or we haven't done enough to remain clear in our priorities and needs. So this is going to be a time to honor your no, honor your need for a break and for rest, and to know that there's also a bigger story happening because of Neptune in Pisces. And Neptune is actually the stronger influence because it takes Neptune 165 years to move around the full zodiac wheel. So this is Neptune closing out a 165-year cycle. And it's Neptune asking us to let go so that we can have a void. Neptune at 29 degrees of Pisces can bring up the void and also a crisis. It's a crisis of where you're sensing, I can't control this. The ego or the mind isn't able to make traction or to do anything. The last degree of Pisces is where we're actually meant to return to our higher spiritual knowingness and the spiritual perspectives that guide us on our journey. And so we're being asked to pull in more of that, bring in more of your own spiritual wisdom, practice compassion, really look at, any themes of forgiveness, anywhere you need more gratitude or appreciation, anywhere you can detach and release. These are all going to be big themes here into February. And it's where, again, we're going to have to step back from what you want to allow what is to simply exist, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. So Neptune is retrograde right now.
Yeah, and Neptune re-enters Pisces November 9th.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's not November 9th. That's when Uranus re-enters Taurus, which is another thing we need to talk about too.
Always
But
better
Just
to
add
Neptune,
that.
yeah, we've got that coming up. But Neptune returns to Pisces, and it's going to feel like there could be more of an overwhelm. There could be a sense of needing intentional peace. Like I'm really going to be practicing more peacefulness, more detachment, more allowing of what is, because this is again a point of supreme surrender that we don't always practice in our lives. But I feel that it's the point of enlightenment that a lot of ascended masters have been teaching humanity through their many practices, stories, teachings. It's like the ascended masters are the ones who can guide us through these times of, chaos and uncertainty and unprecedented events, as we were talking about. It's practicing what the ascended masters have been teaching us and allowing that to be part of our worldly experiences.
Well, I feel like, I have a lot of late degree Pisces
Mm,
in my chart. And so for me, there's a comfort with it coming back in. And I
yes.
definitely felt the day that Saturn shifted. And it was interesting because when Saturn went into Aries, I felt the shift from the heaviness that Saturn can bring,
Oh yeah.
or not heaviness, maybe serious, like
Yeah.
so serious.
Yeah.
And I don't think of myself as a really serious person,
Mhm.
although that's interesting in itself when I say that, because I probably am. But anyway, lighthearted. Anyway, so I've definitely felt it and looked forward to this time. And interestingly, someone just gave me a Reiki session when I was at the Reiki retreat,
Mm.
and it showed how many responsibilities that I have that I really hadn't noticed. Like you
Wow.
just do it,
Yeah,
right?
second nature.
Yeah, you just do it. And so all of your everything that you just said has so much more clarity now to look at
Mm.
all of that. Like, okay, where are the responsibilities that are true and what I want to be doing? Which ones are culturally created self? Which ones are soul journeys? Really fascinating. And
Mhm.
then
Mhm.
also, it sounds so exactly, Robin, like what we're in the middle of, because we are so focused on how Reiki can help with all of this and
Yeah.
teaching it. And, feeling like this sense of really needing to share the information about how Reiki helps. And so, noticing the February through April is really helpful. Like that makes so much sense. Like,
Mhm.
oh, that's when all of the manifestation will flow together and make sense.
Yeah, and that can help to know that it's not too far away, these
Yeah.
powerful new starts. But 2025 has given us a sample, a heads up, a dress rehearsal of what it could be. And after we have that sample, we go back and say, okay, I can see what will happen. So let me take care of this other stuff that would be in the way or that would block that new start. What do you need to close out in order to be set free for the new beginning? And I think that's going to be a big theme here for the rest of 2025 and especially into February 2026 is that we're sensing even maybe some new excitement is going to come in, some new motivation as we, complete things and let them go. and feel the energies continuing to shift within us, because this is a very important time for energy work. And I have Reiki regularly with a practitioner, a friend of mine, and I love it and I need it. And I feel that it's something that more people might not realize they need, that would beautifully support them during this big astrology, because we take on so much, or we're holding so much, and any kind of energy work that allows you to feel pure and lighter, I think is going to help people move ahead in like these quantum ways. So this is a very important time for energy work, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So Molly, if I hear you correctly, is that in general, and correct me if I'm wrong too, is that in general in this next time frame, don't fight against the instinct for rest. Don't fight against the instinct for that.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Because it's
We
the energy is
really
going to pick back up.
Yeah, we really need the rest. And of course, rest always serves a purpose. And it not only allows our body to rest, but our brains need to rest. You know, there's too much stimuli right now. There's too much happening that is taking up our minds. Like, it's sort of this sense of like, I just see it as these flashes of light that never stop, that can be too much, overstimulating. We don't know how to focus or get done what we need to get done. Yes, we need to rest, is what I'm saying. We need to rest. We need to calm the mind. We need calming practices. I'm also seeing it as we need ways to feel grounded in our bodies that allow our energy meridians to be effective, healthy, and pure. So we need ways to keep moving energy through us, which can certainly happen as we sleep and as we rest. But I do feel that it's going to be more important than ever as a way to balance ourselves.
That's good to hear. I think for a lot of people too, it's not even just the harder things. It's when we're really busy and we feel like, oh my gosh, why am I so, just
Yep.
kind of pushing against this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, we're being bombarded with a lot of energies that we're not even conscious of. We are also ascending, and so we become more energetically sensitive as a result. So, the energies right now that are swirling around are very high frequency, and they're coming through even faster. And that's very different than the energies from 5 years ago, 10 years ago. And so it's part of what we're adjusting to. Like, we're adjusting to being in our power and more energetically aware from a state of pureness, like being more energetically pure than ever before.
Well, I see that too in how Reiki is such a good practice for this moment, because it doesn't require a lot of attention to the practice itself to be able to receive it. Sometimes practices can feel like one more thing to do. And so it's one of the things that I love with the way that Reiki works. And that's, again, noticeable in my sessions, is what we did in our invocation before we started, is that alignment, that to like really invite Reiki to help you align with the higher frequencies that are actually here now.
Yes.
So it feels like in that in between, we're in that place of like bouncing back and forth between the different frequencies that we've been used to for however many decades or years, I don't know, but now elevating into these higher levels of consciousness, and we're seeing it in the children. So they're coming in with it even natively, like they definitely are born with it, and we can see it in the generations. I think in an even more dramatic change than the generations before. So
Yes.
like, from my parents to me, from me to even, well, Robin's age, really started it a lot, but now seeing these new ones being born,
Mm.
you really can see that. But back to the Reiki, I think that alignment, and just so anyone listening, you can actually just ask Reiki to help you align so that you're connected into the earth and these higher frequencies, but you're actually asking it to entrain you to those higher frequencies.
And Colleen, can you ask Reiki to assist you as you're sleeping?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I go to
That's
sleep
great.
with Reiki on my hands. I wake up with it that
Mhm.
way. If I wake up, because I can fall asleep, but I wake up in the middle of the night a lot. And
Yes.
so
Yes.
just then I just place my hands, I use it to go back to sleep. Um, Definitely, I would say I am also, though, subject to the different energetic things that go on during sleep. So I can definitely be affected by with sleep patterns when these shifts in the planets are taking place, like right now.
Yeah,
So,
like right now. I know I was just
like
telling
right now.
Robyn before we started that there are nights that I will be feeling these intense frequencies to the point that I can't sleep. I feel like I'm awake all night, looking at the clock or just not able to rest or even for my brain to settle down. And it isn't simply my mind, but it's the energies in the collective, it's whatever frequencies are coming down on the planet. I've been feeling that more often, this disrupted sleep pattern. And I think it's because we're so receptive, in a sleep state to these new energies that the upgrades happen then. And the upgrades come through really fast in our resting state. So I think that's just going to also be a part of what we continue to experience into the second half of this decade.
Yeah, I did have a client even yesterday. It's interesting you bring this up, and the same thing. And what came through in the session was to establish office hours in your sleep. That
Oh,
I
that's
have
interesting.
I have hours that I am
Mhm.
open to being open, and then I have hours that, I need my body. I live here, and my
Yeah.
body really needs the sleep. It needs the
Yeah.
rejuvenation.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And there's days too where I'll feel the energy is really motivating and strong. I'm really active and getting things done. And then I'll hit that unexpected wall and I just need to nap or rest. I mean, the energies are just really inconsistent right now and they're spiking. So they go up and then they crash back down. So if you feel that throughout the day, just know that that's just in the astrology right now and it's pretty normal.
That's so helpful to hear, Molly.
You have no idea.
So
We
many of
just
us are
had this
like, oh,
conversation.
thank God, it's not just me. I can tell you, I can hear the collective like, oh,
Yeah.
and
Well, and
let
then we
those.
also have really strong solar
That's what I
activity
was going to say. These
from the
Schumann
sun.
resonance, these solar
Yeah.
flares and everything as well are playing into it. I mean, how many times are we seeing like, oh, the northern light? Well, for us northern states, you
Yeah.
could see the northern lights tonight. And like so many times I'm like, can we see them? And what's the solar wind doing? And that's just wild.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Really
really
rare and
rare.
so exciting, but
Yeah.
also a testament to these energies that we're in that like things are just in these whole new patterns. It's like brand new patterns are being established. More extremes are happening that we're feeling as well. So again, it's like this really fascinating energetic ecosystem that we're tuning into and we're trying to figure out, well, why am I exhausted at 2 p.m.? It's like, oh, there was a solar flare or there was something bigger occurring that of course we're going to feel.
Yeah. All right. So we've talked about two planets.
Should we talk about the third?
What else is happening?
Well, also, what we're
That
going to
was so
see
good.
here in the last few months of 2025 is Uranus
Hmm.
returns to Taurus November 10th
Okay.
and will stay in Taurus until late April of next year. And so this is going to be a return to what Uranus in Taurus is shaking up in financial systems, in the stock markets, in inflation, in investments, interest rates, right? Everything that is under this umbrella. It also is shaking up, well, what do I really need? What do I really want? What do I really value? And Uranus is going to be moving across these final degrees of Taurus, 27, 28, 29 degrees of Taurus, and completing its time in Taurus, which started in 2018. So this might be an interesting span of time to look at how your personal values have changed since 2018. It could also be interesting to look at what has changed for you in terms of your own salary, how you make money, the different ways you've learned to make money or that you want to receive income. Taurus is what we accumulate, what we earn, what we save. And people could be seeing, you know what? I have a lot of things in my life that I no longer enjoy. I no longer resonate with. I want to get rid of it. I want to clear it out. And so we have this interesting dance unfolding. It's a personal renovation of our value systems where we're saying, well, I want more of this in my life and less of that. For example, I want more free time to be with my loved ones, to have some days off, to travel, whatever. I don't want to be working a typical 9 to 5. I don't want to have that daily grind anymore. So how do I maintain a lifestyle that I love and enjoy while also experiencing more freedom and more independence to choose what I want to do? This is part of what Uranus and Taurus is going to be showing us into late April. So you could have some realizations of what you're really done with. Maybe you're ready to take a risk or do something different. Maybe you want to start the new year with a whole new way of sharing your gifts, or maybe opening up your business, or doing something that can feel radical, because Uranus is a very radical energy. It's very sudden. It can feel like it moves too fast, especially in Taurus, but it's returning to a part of your chart, 27, 28, and 29 degrees of Taurus, that it was already in. So I feel that for most people, there's things that you've already come to understand about what you want to change. And from November to April, you might be like, I'm going to go for it. I'm just going to do it. I want this. I'm ready for this. Let's just see what happens and go for it. So I think that there's going to be a sense of people letting go of what has been holding them down or holding them back. The Taurus energy, however, is cautious. It wants to take its time, check for risk, ensure this is stable, but this energy isn't like that. So it's shaking up our security systems, pushing us into new experiences of life, getting us out of our own comfort zones or ruts. And that's going to be scary at times. But with this energy, there could be something you're sensing that says, it's time. It's time. I'm going to leap. I'm going to try it. I'm going to go for it. And then you'll sense that I actually feel so much better than I thought I would because I did it.
Then what happens when it moves back into Gemini? You said in April?
Yeah, so then it moves back into Gemini, where things are going to start to feel much busier. Imagine that. More exciting, more interesting. The Uranus in Gemini is where we are upgrading our lifestyles. It's bringing in these new technologies, right? It's how we're going to have new devices, new ways of moving through our world, especially, of course, with AI now on our phones and in many areas of our lives. Uranus in Gemini is going to make environments very different. It's changing schools. I mean, even this school year is going to be very different than any other school year before it. It's changing our communications. It's changing our transportations. We're going to have new innovative solutions that come through when Uranus is in Gemini. Things are going to move faster. It could even feel like there's more head spinning developments that are hard to grasp. So Uranus in Gemini is going to be both exciting and interesting, but potentially overwhelming in terms of, well, what do I focus on? What's the priority? And to that, Robyn, I would say that it is important for us to have very intentional ways of maintaining focus and maintaining, I'm going to say, control over our minds.
Okay.
Because we can be really scattered with these energies. It's sort of like you go about your day and you're like, I'm so busy and I got nothing done.
Yeah. Okay.
So we're going to have that more regularly. So that's why I'm saying this is a time to look at what are your priorities, what matters to you, what is essential, and have that on your daily to-do list so that you can complete what you need to complete without being pulled in all these directions or feeling like you're going to miss something. And that can come up too. It's like you can't be everywhere at once. So I'm feeling like this energy being so scattered, we're going to have to maintain a sense of, again, focus on what matters and what you need to complete.
Makes a lot of sense with the change. It's hard when you're in these conversations to not relate it to self.
Yeah.
And I'm actually this next, Uranus and Gemini is my Uranus opposition. So, but how it's moved and then moving back into Taurus, how I felt before and after, and all of these things, I'm like, oh, I think it's pretty normal, I think, to have those reactions of like, oh, that's why. And it's exactly like you described.
Well, and Gemini is the twins, and it's duality. It's the right and the left side of our bodies. It's our capability to multitask. It's how we can do multiple things at once and move things forward in their own ways, like their own project timelines. So there's going to be a sense of, well, I need to be doing two things at once. That could become the new normal. I was thinking too, in terms of being an entrepreneur, where we have all these hats we wear, all these things we need to get done. You could feel like you have to clone yourself to get things done. There's going to be more of a pull to work hard, play hard. I also feel that Uranus and Gemini is going to give us some really awesome solutions to use and apply in our lives. And before this started, we were talking about AI and how Colleen is so good with this development and using AI. It's like that is a great way of implementing Uranus in Gemini, where you're accessing another intelligence field to support what you need to do and allowing it to be a contributor without being the main character.
I think what it's done for me and what I see evolutionarily or in an evolutionary way with AI is it has really increased my curiosity. And also what I see in the bigger picture is that it is teaching us to ask more questions.
Yes.
And that's just one piece of that subject, but I think that that's a Uranus in Gemini result is we will be collectively asking new questions, receiving new answers, and the questions then generate imagination, generates innovation, generates creativity, curiosity. That's another thing I'm really seeing in this. But like you say, one of our main mantras is stay stable, be kind. That this is such a time trying to navigate it because do you think, like, to me this is like we are at the beginning of the new beginnings of the whole collective evolution. So it's individual, but it's collective too, like a new age.
Absolutely. And it's interesting because it comes in slowly and then it's all of a sudden here. And it feels like we've been accelerating in ways we can't quite understand or wrap our minds around. And when I think about this Uranus and Gemini, it's speeding up our abilities to understand what's happening, even if we don't fully get it. There's something in our programming that is on board with it and that understands what is changing at the higher levels. And I feel too that what you've said, Colleen, about asking better questions, is absolutely Gemini, because Gemini is known for talking, but the other side of that is listening. And so maybe we can also become more thoughtful listeners. We can become more mindful. It's almost like with everything moving around, all this information and feeling scattered, how can we be more intentional and more mindful that allows us to understand what's important and what's not?
So going back to Neptune moving into Pisces, I think with that ability to be more mindful is moving into the awareness that sometimes I just go into, I invite Reiki and say, I receive, because I
Yeah.
can't consciously sort it out.
Yeah.
Before things were like, oh, I can sort them out. I can think about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and now it's like, I just receive, like
Yeah. It's like, just
open,
tell me what to do.
show me what to do,
Tell
the
me.
next step to
Tell
take,
me.
and I'll, follow that little light trail ahead of me and take that next step. And moving into that receptivity or that willingness to listen, like you say, because we ask the question, but we also have to listen for the answer
Mm-hmm.
and receive those answers, and new ones are coming in. And
Yeah.
so new questions are coming in, new answers are coming in.
And there's going to be a lot of new stories being revealed, more information around what we've been taught and told for centuries. I feel like this is it's going to shake the apple tree. It's really going to shake up what we had assumed or always believed to be true. This Uranus in Gemini is trining Pluto in Aquarius, and that's a really big deal, because that's going to just blast open new truths and evolve us as a species, where we're going to have new understandings around the history of the planet, more information about what's going on in the galaxy and in the solar system. And we already are, right? Just the fact that we're talking about what's going on the sun and the Schumann resonance, like we're starting to see a bigger picture. And that's going to continue. We're going to be expanding stories and just seeing things in a whole new light. It's like turning things on its head and then turning it sideways, because actually Uranus is a planet that moves sideways, which is great for understanding the energy.
It moves, but it moves sideways.
It moves sideways. That's right. Let me be as unpredictable as possible. I will move sideways.
Especially for vertical people.
Right.
Uh,
So I do want to ask then, because it does keep saying in my ear to go ahead and ask the question. So I have Taurus at 20, I have Mars at 28 degrees Taurus
Mm,
in my eighth house.
mm,
So it feels like it's going to move back into
mhm.
that. And the eighth house, and not just about me, but it's one of them that I don't quite get. Like,
Yeah.
what is that eighth house? And for me, that Taurus in there, that absolute steady, consistent
Yeah.
Mars energy.
Yeah. Yeah. And what it's meant to do is Uranus in Taurus is going to unleash what you've been hanging on to, or what has been too stable to the point that it's holding you back. And so you might have a sense of you're ready to do something that's wild and risky that you never thought you would go towards. Maybe you're changing up a routine. This is going to also awaken in the eighth house more of your healing gifts, more of what you're ready to connect with, that is part of your own personal timeline in this life. And the eighth house, it holds a lot, because it's actually where we merge energies. So it's your marriage, it's where you share finances, it's where you understand your fears. The eighth house is often where we look to other people for navigational support. It's the house of healers, therapists, counselors, people we go to support us in whatever we're working through. The eighth house tends to be more emotional, and it has a lot of depth, where we have to dig in and figure out, what is this about? So this is where you could have some breakthroughs and beautiful understandings, especially related to Mars, which is what you want, your goals, how you feel strong and stable in yourself, how you go for what you want. All of that is meant to be opening up and expanding you, but it happens in a very fast moving manner with Uranus.
So Uranus moving back into Mars, I mean, not Mars, back into Taurus. And then I think you said in April is when it moves back into Gemini.
Correct. And then it stays in Gemini until I believe 2033. So we're getting these last final months of Uranus and Taurus. I do want to let people know that I believe, again, this is going to bring instability to finances. This could be more tariff or trade issues. This could be more stuff that you're feeling as the new year begins. Typically, that Taurus energy wants to save and conserve, and I would advise that. It's maybe not the best time for any financial risks. You might feel like you'd rather put money in the bank than invest in like a dream vacation. Depends on your circumstances, of course, because some people are going to do the opposite. But just to be financially responsible is more important because Uranus is shaking things up. We haven't had the financial crash that's been predicted. Like it's kind of come and gone, or it's come forward and disappeared. Astrologically, it can very much happen over these next number of months into April. There can be that financial crash. So I just want to say that because I feel that it's important for people to know that, and to be very aware of your resources.
And that starts in November, you said?
Yes, November to April.
Yeah, November through
Yeah.
April. Okay.
I've been talking about this for a few years now, because even though you see it astrologically, you don't know when it's going to really happen. And I keep seeing it as this Jenga tower. It's like, when's it going to topple? When's it going to move? And it's just part of the evolutionary cycle of the financial markets and what we move through, with these systems. So I just want to give people that heads up that just be more aware of what's going out and what's coming in, and that it is a good time to conserve if possible.
Yeah, like you said, it's always hard to predict, but if there's these time periods where you can see the energy that it could be behind it, whether it happens or not. Timing,
Right.
in whether it's astrology, whether it's psychic, things like that, timing, when we get those downloads, timing is always not necessarily the most predictable thing.
It's
But
true.
it's always good to know when you have these energies behind it of like, there's the potential here. And in this potential, you need to be aware. And so I always really appreciate when those things are talked about.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
And
yes. And I
especially if
mean,
you're in the place of like making decisions.
yeah. I mean, we see it in how 2025 has unfolded with prices increasing here and there, with things happening in the housing market. Everyone's feeling it in some ways, feeling the changes. So it's going to continue. And I believe that even if nothing horrible happens, the worst case scenario then is that you just got more money in the bank, right? Or you've just saved more and you're more solid. So I feel like being able to conserve a little bit more is going to pay off now, regardless of if there's a crash or not.
That is just such good advice, and to give people a heads up to think about it, particularly as we are moving into holiday season,
Yes.
to be thinking about that and, giving yourself the grace to shift your awareness around. Well, maybe I would rather have that in the bank than that one thing. I always think about that with $20 because it seems like, just you can't walk out the door without it being at least a minimum of $20. That's if you're
Or
lucky.
look on your phone.
Yeah, right. It's like, yikes. And so just even those things. And as you're talking, I'm running through, okay, what are some of the bills that I can go back through? What are, some of those things? the outgo of expenses.
Yes. Yeah, and even paying down a credit card bill or putting more money towards a car payment or a house payment or student loans, whatever that looks like for you. This is the time to do that. And I know that not everybody has that additional income or extra money to put towards these things, but there is something about this time bringing to our attention where we are investing our energy through money. And I think especially in America, we live in a very consumerism culture. Everything wants your dollars and your cents. Everything wants you, to spend money. Sales are going on all the time everywhere. But the more that we can like pull it in and rein it in and save at this time, I think it's going to pay off. So just a suggestion for those of you who might appreciate knowing that.
Be de-influenced.
Right.
Those accounts, the de-influencer accounts. It's like, you're
Yeah.
right, I don't need that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yes.
Yeah. So also when we air this episode is right after the eclipse season. So how is that, what does that look like for where we are? This will be in October, from what is currently happening.
So right after eclipses, we move into Libra season, which is about reestablishing our balance and looking at, okay, what came up for me during the eclipses in September that I realized I'm clearing out, I'm ending. What did I understand needs to be reset and needs to be, put into a better state for myself. And so I feel like a lot of October is going to bring to our attention what we are now balancing, what where we were out of balance, especially I would say if we're looking at divine feminine, divine masculine energies within us. You might realize you've been strongly in your masculine and now you need to really honor and connect with your feminine, or vice versa. You've been in your feminine and now you got to, make some decisions and get some things done in your masculine. So that's one of the best ways to use Libra season is to rebalance what is best for you at this time. And it's also good to look at the relationships in your world, in your life, which ones support a healthy balance, which ones are mutual and reciprocal. I feel that the last few months of 2025, we're going to not only need more rest, but we're going to have a sense of new priorities. And there's going to be a sense of, I'm done with something and I want to focus on what I'm going to start in the new year. What I want to put money or put energy into in 2026. So I think that people are going to be recalibrating and might be really surprised at what you realize you want to keep or you don't want to keep.
Really good advice. And I also think that for me in Libra season 2, there's a lot of paying attention to our decision making.
Yes.
And sometimes because Libra can be not indecisive, but see so many different versions of everything, that making decisions. So how is that? Because I know you're also talking about mind management.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that is a great point, Colleen, because there's actually like a joke that you don't ask a Libra where to go for dinner because they can't decide between Italian or Thai food. It's like, I don't know, which one do we choose? But the energy of making a decision, I think you're going to be weighing options from, I'm seeing it at a higher scale, from a higher place of self-awareness, where maybe you're understanding, a year ago, I would be deciding between A and B. But this year, I'm realizing my priorities have changed. What I want is shifting. I can see more of what is closing out for me, what I'm ending, or how I've been growing. And I think people are going to have some really fascinating new choice points that are going to be connected to the new chapters and new starts of 2026. So I would make those decisions based on what you are ready to move into next year. instead of looking at any like obligations or shoulds. You could feel that people are expecting a lot from you, or they're expecting you to stay in a certain box or stay in your lane. And you might realize, I'm done with this lane. I don't even want to be in this box anymore. I'm ready for this next thing. So make decisions that honor what you want next and less from what other people are expecting of you.
And I wonder if, again, giving a like a Libra energy to it, if inviting the pathway of like the ease of least resistance and kindness in that, that I know for myself sometimes the concern over change comes through how do I do that in a good way? Like if I am
Mm,
letting go of something or someone,
mm,
particularly Libra can do relationship things, like to do
yeah,
it in a good way that is gentle all the
yeah,
way around. Like, can we just ask for some gentleness with it all?
yes. Oh, and I love that word. I love that word. Because I feel that part of what we can intend is knowing that if it's best for you, it also can be best for someone else, even if they don't understand that or see that in the moment. And so I think that can be part of the intention. What do you think?
Yeah, yes,
Mm. Because I know
yes.
you have Libra in your chart, so you know.
Libra rise, Libra moon. Yeah,
Yep, yep.
always navigating through the kindness and glad for that.
Yes,
I would rather be able to do it with kindness and gentleness than conflict.
yes.
So I think that's what I don't even know why that is coming through right now. Maybe because I was thinking ahead to Scorpio season. So
Right. And the intensity of that.
but the
Yeah. Very
intensity
different on the
coming
Well,
other.
and,
in
and a lot of these
and
things
holidays
changing, these things changing in
changing.
Scorpio
Yes.
season of like returning to balance before the shakeup and the shakeup happening in Scorpio season. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
especially it's
Right.
Uranus, right? That's changing in November.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And so um we need that balance so that we can almost like even like just rest or take a break and be
Yeah.
like, okay, I
A
can
breath.
I can take up that breath. And then yes, in Scorpio season, the emotional intensity comes through, which really can show you what you really desire, because Scorpio is so all or nothing and it's so passionate and it has this conviction. And so we move out of that needing to balance things and be fair in Libra into that Scorpio, but this is what I want. Like, this is what I feel and this is what I'm desiring. So that passion gets turned up in Scorpio season. And it also can show us, more of what really matters to us, where when you're not trying to please other people, but you're aware of what you need or and what's driving you, because it is a very driven energy too.
That is such a good statement to hear. When, as a, I would say a recovering people pleaser,
Mm,
I like doing it too. It's also natural to me. So there's the imbalance of that and the balance
yeah.
of it. So hearing those words is so beneficial. Like
Mm,
just moving into, but again, I'm going to say right now, gently,
yeah.
moving into
Yeah.
all of this. So
Yes. Yes.
yeah, because I love Scorpio energy.
Yeah.
I love the intensity and the passion of it. Um,
Yes.
so
Yeah.
yeah, it's a very comfortable energy to me.
I love that. Yeah, and that's great to hear, because oftentimes Scorpio doesn't get that kind of feedback, because the Scorpio intensity can be very divisive, because it's so misunderstood. But it takes us into more of our truth, like what we emotionally truly feel about something. And I think it has so much wisdom to offer, and it's so healing as well.
And reveals the shadow.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I have Capricorn and Pluto in Scorpio in my 8th house. So, and another planet in Scorpio. So big Scorpio
You
energy.
know, you're here
Yeah.
for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're here for that energy and
Yeah.
how to direct it, wisely and responsibly, but to also know like you're someone who's capable of going deep and you're made for that. There's so much strength and resilience in that Scorpio energy signature.
Yeah. Yeah. And some challenge.
And some challenge. Yeah, it's true. It's true. Yeah.
The internal challenge, right?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Going from the choice to go to the soaring eagle energy of the Scorpio. Yeah. That
Yeah, it's quite the
constant
transformation.
choice.
It's the phoenix always rising. So even when the phoenix crashes, it's meant to rise again. And that's just part of what the Scorpio journey is about. And that's how you gain more of that wisdom and understanding, because these are, like, I think of Scorpio as the Persephones, right? The Persephones that are able to go into the underworld and guide people through that. Not everyone has access to that.
Yeah.
In fact, it was Persephone and I believe only Mercury that had access into the underworld. So there's rites of passage that you earn through the Scorpionic experience.
Oh, that makes so much sense.
I can validate that. I can validate that.
I would guess so. Yeah.
I can validate that.
Yeah.
So is there anything else in 2026? Because that's just the first half. And, I know you, among other astrologers, have said we are in a period still of these big shifts. And so is there anything else in 2026 that we should I know it's on the back half, like we'll kind of forget about that, but it just kind of a basic, anything we should be aware of that's coming our way.
Well, I think actually the biggest energies astrologically in 2026 are in the first half of the year. Okay. And we're going to have a big deal astrology thing with a Saturn Neptune conjunction at 0 degrees, 44 minutes of Aries. 0 degrees, 44 minutes of Aries. It starts a new cycle. These two are conjunct every 36 years, but they're conjunct at a world point, 0 degrees of Aries, the very beginning. So it's opening us up into all these new potentials, evolutionary starting points, things that we're going to be pushed into or ushered into for the next at least 36 years, but also I would say next 165 years.
Is that because of the Neptune change? And you said it was Neptune and Saturn? I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
Okay.
Neptune and Saturn are conjunct at 0 degrees of Aries. And so there's an important starting point here. And this is what we're feeling is approaching. And we got a sample of it in the middle of 2025 because Saturn and Neptune were both entering and spending time in Aries. Then they are returning to Pisces for a number of months. And then they re-enter this Aries energy where they have a conjunction, and that's the new start. That's the big bang, if you will. Like that's okay, it's on, it's happening. We've been moving through these drafts and sampling things, and this is the real deal. And again, that's going to happen February 20th, 2026. And it's interesting because I realized that's also going to be during eclipse season of 2026. We're going to have an eclipse February 17th. And then we have this conjunction. So February, March are going to be big months for what we are really starting and moving into that maybe we thought was, again, delayed, not coming, not possible. Now the new creation energy occurs. This is powerful, creative energy. And it's asking each of us to be very intentional with the new beginnings and the intentions that we're now wanting to live and experience.
And co-create.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So because of the 0 degrees of Aries, it's really personal for each person as well.
And that's happening in Pisces season then too. So that would be a whole influence also.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. And I haven't gone fully into that chart just yet, but
Yeah,
it's going to be an important reset globally.
yeah.
There's going to be some very big global resets. I mean, with the Saturn and Neptune and Pisces here, I've discussed this on my podcast. Like, there's going to be leadership failures. There's going to be endings in leaders, structures, authorities, mentors. If people haven't been working for the best and highest good of others, if they haven't been in a true state of service, these energies are meant to be ending on the planet so that humanity can move forward, so that we can have a new sense of what it means to be, working for the people and connecting to what is best in our new cycle. So we're going to have some important endings in leaders, in more corporations, more jobs. There's going to be more coming up too around health, um, how we are taking care of ourselves, how we are honoring what we need, going back to rest, making sure that we're giving ourselves downtime as part of our health practices. Also listening to our bodies and how we're really working with all these energies. If we're holding stress and not realizing it, and then of course that takes its toll. So we need to be more mindful of that mental health, physical health connection.
So do you think having had Pluto, that would have been over a year in Aquarius, is going to be like, thank goodness it didn't happen at the same time too. Although I know we've been playing with all of it this whole year in 2025. But I think of the Pluto now in the mix
Yeah.
with that.
Yeah. And it's stirring up, what needs to be revolutionized. And Pluto is about evolution and transformation and getting into, what's been hidden from the people, what's been kept undercover, what have we not had access to. And Aquarius is working with more of our deeper knowingness. And so it's helping us become more attuned to energies and to trusting what we're sensing and seeing. Pluto in Aquarius is also going to help us in paving a new future for humanity. But first, there needs to be the destruction of what doesn't serve humanity. And, that looks different, different cultures, different areas of life, different industries. Like, that looks different across all these, like, this full spectrum of experiences. But I feel that what is really being revolutionized is how we are going to be advancing with technologies, with off-planet energies, with galactic influences, how humans are going to be exposed to more ways of living on the planet that we didn't think would be possible. I think that's all part of it. And this is such a big topic, but just an overview of some of the themes that Pluto in Aquarius is bringing up. And what does it mean to be a powerful individual as well?
Well, of course, we definitely want to hear about the galactic influences.
Mm-hmm.
So, what is that like, feeling like that connection is being more out in the open?
Absolutely. And that there have been hidden programs with different galactic beings and experiments that I think are going to come to the forefront. There have been various beings on the planet who have been assisting humanity, who have been wanting us to grow and develop in our best possible ways, because there's very benevolent, loving guides that are assisting us. There's also other agendas at play. There's other forces that don't want the best for humanity and have other intentions around using our energy and what that means. So we're living in this time period of becoming more aware of other beings that are here on the planet. And I feel like what's going to happen is that as more and more people open up to these types of energies and understandings, there's going to be a lot more that comes to the forefront around who we are actually in contact with off planet, some of the experiments that are going on in space, as well as on other planets. Some of the technologies are going to come to the forefront around, for example, time travel and ways that different, I'm seeing it as like mechanics have been used and implemented and created for different types of, it just looks like transport, like different transport methods that are being practiced. So I think there's like this whole world of things that feel like a sci-fi movie that are actually occurring and happening. And it's going to be arriving in our consciousness more and more.
Do you think that it is also like with the the telepathy tapes, for instance, and our understanding of our telepathic abilities? And I know in our world, we're making a lot of these kinds of connections with the spiritual beings from a consciousness level rather than the physical. There is a device we can use for that communication. It's like telepathic communication. So does that also fit into all of this? That it's part of the consciousness. In fact, the one that I was talking about from yesterday, with needing the office hours, it's because she was so open to off-planet communication,
Yeah.
and she needed to let them know, like, I need hours here. Like I
Yeah.
have to, we have to make, like make an appointment or
Right.
My body model isn't there yet.
my body
Yeah.
model is not there yet. So the telepathic part of it too. So how does
That's
that all
exciting.
play into it?
Yeah. Well, I think that's also part of Uranus and Gemini,
Yeah.
as we are able to work with our brains in a whole new way. We're picking up more energies and we're becoming more energetically tuned in, to how we can intentionally connect with others and with other beings. So I think that the telepathy is going to become more of a skill and an ability that we understand and just use. I think it also relates to other types of, I would say, visual skills like remote viewing,
Yeah.
getting those flashes of messages, more expansion in our clairvoyance, claircognizance, right? You just know something, you just get it. That's all a part of our upgrades now. That's all a part of what is coming online. And a big part of it is trusting it, right? Is working with it and knowing that it's real, it's happening, you can do it, and allowing it to be something that we trust and work with often.
We were having a podcast with another guest, and she was talking about how there's a change evolutionarily actually coming in February of 2027. Body model switches. And so
Uh-huh.
the babies born after February 2027 are going to actually genetically be slightly different.
Yes. Is that related to human design at all?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, about human design.
Yeah, it's that big new cycle, the era of the individual, right? Or like the 412-year cycle that starts.
I don't know if she said that much about it, but I would
Oh,
imagine that's yes. I would
yeah.
imagine
Yeah.
yes. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And that's a big deal too in this whole mix of what's happening in the second half of the decade, is that we are becoming these next versions of ourselves, and humanity is changing and evolving in ways that we can't see it in the moment, right? It's like it's only probably in hindsight that we'll look back and be like, "Oh, yes, I see it so clearly now." But yeah, that's definitely a part of what's coming in 2027 and beyond that also aligns with the astrology.
Well, what's so interesting is, as you were saying, that one of the things that not just us, but so many people talk about how these couple of generations are the bridge generations.
Mm.
And that also aligns with that in between. Like we
Yeah.
are the in between, the old and the new, bridging that together. And
Yeah.
that's been challenging to hold that energy. And we know that it's so challenging to hold that energy, but we came here for this purpose because we are strong enough to hold this energy of the before and the after in this huge transitional time, and how important it is to be able to hold the energy for the next incoming. And it will be, I think, and maybe it won't be in like this lifetime of some of us, but it'll be so helpful to see that new, even though it's not, if it's not us, because it's like, oh, okay, this is what
Yeah.
I've been holding this whole time, so that it does help humanity in that evolutionary process, in that ascended process, or all the things, that upgrading process.
So beautifully explained. Yeah, absolutely. And it's a lot to transition. That's why it is so hard and challenging, because you feel like you're a dinosaur that's, trying to become this crystalline energy. It's like there's a lot of density or a lot of things to look at and shift and evolve. And, we're doing a lot of work to get to the other side of the bridge.
Yeah, I feel like for myself at 68, and I was pretty young. I was in my 40s when my husband and I had a discussion with on one of our Celtic shamanic journeys, and
Mm,
about being elders when
mm.
we grew up, so in
Yeah,
our
yeah,
40s. But that we would commit to that role, and now being in that role, and I don't know why it keeps coming up to say, but I feel like in my lifetime, the a really big shift happened in the harmonic convergence
yeah,
back in the 1980s that
yeah,
really started bringing this in. And for me, always having that compelling idea of just stay stable, hold this space for
yeah,
these changes. But we had, back then, of course, we had no idea that we were still in the Jetsons era.
yeah.
Like the
Right,
idea of
right.
a phone or the computers or anything was not even, anywhere.
No, you couldn't even fathom. Yeah, so that harmonic convergence was in August 1987. And astrologically, it was a fire grand trine with 7 different planets, including 4 in Leo. And so it really was activating more of our own light and what we were here to evolve and grow into. And I look at the chart of it, and it was so powerful in what we were ready to experience and activate within ourselves, that it's like, again, in hindsight, we might realize or see it, but when it's happening, you don't always know what it is in the moment or even in the following years.
Yeah, I was up all night that night, so I knew it was
Mm,
happening, but I
wow.
didn't have any of the awareness. I was aware enough with astrology because my mother was into astrology starting in the 70s, so I had the exposure to it, but I didn't really have any understanding of it. But boy, did I feel it. I
Yeah,
definitely knew, and I would say probably that influence then started the guidance towards this path this way. And
amazing.
still today, feeling that sense of my role in being that bridge generation and just
Yeah,
holding that space. And so I'm also speaking to other people of my generation too, of we definitely came here to hold this space
yes,
for this evolution, for these children being born, for the descendants, and opening in that telepathic ability with the spiritual guides, opening our ability to connect with the descendants and be able to hear from them
yeah,
in the same way we think of, well, we can connect to the ancestors, where we are that
absolutely.
center point right now, like the descendants of the ancestors and the ancestors of the descendants. And so really holding that space. And like Robin just said, the in between. I
Oh,
love
yeah,
that so much.
yeah.
And being millennial, and then pretty soon Gen Z will be the parents of the next generation, still holding,
Mhm.
because my generation isn't quite there. We're still holding. We're holding
Yeah.
it at a different level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm Gen X, and we're just like going through it, like just
Yes.
in it. Like
Same.
like you can relate, Robin. Like you're raising
Yeah.
kids, and then you're working with parents. Like you're in
Yeah.
between. you're just going through very important life choices and responsibilities, and realizing you're an adult and a child, or like
yeah, because I'm on right on the edge, so I'm technically a Xennial with it,
yeah,
So,
yeah,
agreed.
yeah.
We're just trying to survive out here, Molly.
I know, right? Like, and you want to just find something that's a creature comfort to like get through.
No. Great British Bake Off starts tomorrow. I'm just holding until then.
See? Priorities are straight. Yep, I get it.
There's your place of rest.
It is.
Go watch the Great British
The fall rest.
Bake Off. Yeah.
But it's amazing to be able to watch something and like to put your phone away. Exactly. Right? Like I'll find like even if I'm watching TV, I'll then look at my phone. It's like, Molly, stop it. Put the phone away. Focus on one screen.
It's so true. Oh, well, Molly, I know that we could talk forever. Is there anything else that you want to add about the astrology or anything else? I mean, honestly, everybody just go find her and listen to her and read the things. It's so helpful.
It's so helpful.
And I have my podcast every Monday and Wednesday for those who want to tune in. It's called Intuitive Astrology with Molly McCord on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, wherever you listen to podcasts, wherever you're listening to this one. But basically, I would just want to piggyback on what you both have shared about the fact that we are made for these times, that we are made to be moving through this significant transition on the planet. Like, this is where we get to show up and follow our dreams and, choose from our hearts what we want and live from a more empowered place. And, everything has served a purpose to get us here. So I think that's part of what you're going to see pays off as you move into 2026. Like everything has served a purpose, whether it's taught you, healed you, grown you, mastered you, whatever, it's all served a purpose. And what you're doing matters.
Really, I love that so much. That's so helpful.
It is. You're right. It matters. Even if it doesn't, even if it feels small, it does matter as we continue to move into this place of the inner authority and breaking away from control systems and, things like that. Yeah.
Self and inner truth.
And Molly, what courses do you have coming up? Because she has great online courses that you can follow, self-paced and things like that. I know you always do one for the next year, right? So you'll have one for reading like 2026.
So I have my introductory course for those who are brand new and you're like trying to figure all this out and you want to know what your chart is. There's a 101 Astrology 101 course that will get you started with the basics. And then you can move into some other courses that are a little bit more advanced. If you want to learn about astrology transits, if you want to learn about your solar return chart, which is essentially your birthday chart every year. And then actually, Robyn, starting in 2026, I'm doing something a little different. I'm no longer doing just the individual year courses. I've grouped it together where it's actually 4 years in one course. So it's 2026 to 2029. Because the astrology across this span of time continues to play out. It's like it continues to build. So this is like one place for people to see what's going to be unfolding for them. It actually starts late 2025 into 2029. And even if that sounds overwhelming, it's divided as a year by year journey. And then I'm adding more videos annually. So you're going to get new content as things become more relevant and as things show up. But this was just a way to keep it all together and make it easier for people too, to just log back in and see what's going to be going on in 2027, 2028. So yeah, it's just going to be one program now from 2026 to 2029.
That's super helpful. And one of the things I love about, not just your courses, but your podcast, you put everything in a really palatable way. And so I know sometimes things can move a little fast and you might need to go through that 101, which is super helpful to learn about some things, but it's still, it's very palatable. You're able to follow along. You're able to kind of understand what you're saying. So just so, anybody that's out there that's a beginner, it is actually because you bring it into the energetics of it. It's not just like this transit is doing this. It's not as scientific as I know astrology can be. If
Right.
you're talking to
Yeah.
somebody advanced, like for you, somebody can say, oh, it's doing this and this and this, and you're going to understand what all of that means. Like you talk about the things behind it all, just like you have here. And so that is always really appreciated.
Oh, good, good. Yeah. Well, I hope it just makes it down to earth,
It
literally,
is.
so that
Yes.
then people can apply it to their lives and use it in a practical way. I think that's also what makes astrology so valuable.
Yes.
Well, I love the idea of the 4 years. For me, that's very stabilizing.
Yeah.
Very much, it feels like, okay, if I can look at, okay, this is where we're at now. We're heading into this moment that things will go forward for the next 4 years.
Hmm.
Um, and I think right now one of the things I've noticed is I think this constant back and forth and change is has brought me more into the now,
Yeah.
where I've always been confused by that because as a
Mhm.
Pisces, I also live in timelessness.
Right.
So,
Right.
the being into the now, but I also do like to look ahead. I do
Hmm.
like the idea of, okay, what is this next 4 year cycle? And
Yeah.
where, it just helps me know where the focus is, even though it will still be individual,
Right.
there's still a bigger picture to look at.
And this course is called Manifesting with the Minor Grand Trine. I know not everyone's going to know what that means, but it basically is how
Perfect.
Uranus in Gemini, as we've discussed, Pluto in Aquarius, and Neptune in Aries are in a very rare, supportive aspect over these next 4 years that is honing you in on who you're becoming and how you want to use the energy consciously to create this next chapter in your life. And in fact, part of the course, Colleen, is it starts with referencing the harmonic convergence that we just talked about in 1987. And it goes through a journey of some of the biggest astrology from the past few decades. And you're going to look back and understand, oh, that's what happened for me in 2001, or that's what, transpired for me 2012, 2015. So it gives you this timeline of big astrology that we've all been moving through. And then it brings you to, okay, today, right now, based on who you are and what you want next in your life, this is how the astrology is going to help you move forward into these new chapters.
So good. Seriously, I love
I'm
that.
so excited about it. Like I was
I
making
know,
this
me
course,
too.
I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited that we get to talk about this good stuff. Like finally.
I know, right? Well,
Yeah.
because I do live in so many possibilities, and it's one of the things that, when we take people on journeys and all of our work, we
Yeah.
often go to the field of possibilities. And then one that just really opened is the field of opportunity. And
Ooh.
so I think there's all of that. And so when we go into the higher frequencies of these planetary energies, it's like really intentionally, ooh, what are some of the great possibilities and opportunities too? And just aligning with it, because
Right.
like you say, you can't see it yet,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
aligning with the frequency of that.
Oh, I
Well,
love that.
I think too, also, if you have some aspects that maybe, like I said, I'll be in the Uranus opposition during that
Yeah.
time. That's actually going to be really helpful to be able to see what that will span.
Yes.
So, yeah, that's going to be,
Yeah.
how can I work with that?
Exactly, because also in the program, I talk about any planets you have basically up to 10 degrees
Hmm.
in any sign is going to be working with this dynamic. And so you might not know offhand, Robyn, what your natal Uranus and Sagittarius degree point is, but it's going to give you a
13 degrees. So at least that's
13.
over 10, but my Neptune is in 1 degree Capricorn. So
Okay. So
gotta stay.
yeah, so this will
Yeah.
give you an understanding of what is
Yeah.
going to be working with you more
Yeah.
personally. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's really helpful.
So
Yeah.
I want to clarify that about your program. When people go into the program, it will give them the relevance to their life. So it shows the bigger pictures, but it also takes it to them and how it shows up for them.
And so that's where you would need to know your own chart, because you're going to take your chart to the program, and then as I'm teaching, you're going to take the information and apply it to your own chart. And
Yeah.
so, like Robyn said, she has something at 1 degree at Capricorn. So that means that Neptune in Aries is going to be squaring her planet in Capricorn. So that's how you're going to see what's going on in your chart. This is a little bit more intermediate advanced. So I realize for some people it could be like over your heads and it's too much. But for those who are ready to go more into their own chart, this is going to give you a lot of good information.
Yeah.
And I would just suggest for anyone thinking maybe that you are at the beginning, and yes, it might be intermediate and advanced. To me, with astrology, I have had to hear it over and over and over again
Yeah.
to really grasp it. I know some, like you or others have probably past life memory of mastery in it that you come in with. I've been exposed to it since the 70s with my mother, but I have had to hear it pretty repeatedly,
Yeah.
and there's value in that. That's
And
what I'm
that's
trying to say.
normal.
There's a lot of
Yeah.
value in it.
Well, it's a language. It's a science.
It
Totally.
is.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
well, and even if it's been a little while or you don't understand it, even taking the 101 before you do that would
Mhm.
be, it can be helpful because there's terms and things that you would be able to just kind of review and refresh and.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes. Yes.
Well, so you can find all of Molly's links in our show notes. So anywhere that you can find her website, these courses will have a link in there. So if you want to go take a look at that, you can do that. So any of those kinds of things, just go and click on our show notes, and it'll be there waiting for you.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you again so much. We always just love our time with you.
Oh,
Likewise. Thank you. Thank you for having me back. I love talking
Yeah.
with you. I love your audience. So many wonderful people come through your show. So thank you for everything you're doing in the world too. It's really fantastic.
Well, like you say, it's all of us together.
Yeah.
Yeah. And all the
Yep.
different ways we all do it. So
Yep. Absolutely. Yep. We need each other.
yes, we do, don't we?
We do. We
Like,
do.
tell me what this is all about and how to use Reiki to help us get through it.
Absolutely. Oh, because it's so beneficial. I love my Reiki sessions that I receive. Yes.
So true. Well, thank
Okay.
you,
Thank you
everyone.
so
and
much, everyone.
Thank
We'll
you.
see you next
Thank
time.
you.
yes,
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.
bye now.